Sponsored in part by DollarSeed.com for your flowers, vegetables, and herbs. All organic seeds, all only $1 a pack. DollarSeed.com. And by WillowSpringsSoap.com. Handmade soaps with simple, recognizable ingredients, making soaps using the cold kettle process while using traditional methods. WillowSpringsSoap.com.
Manure.com, authentic Haven brand, 100% natural soil conditioner for the home garden, all your vegetables, herbs, and flowers. Manure.com, always free shipping. Squirm and Worm Farm, organic farm and gardening supplies. It's conveniently located in Plymouth, Wisconsin. Worm castings, organic potting soil, organic and heirloom seeds, cover crop seeds, and more. SquirmandWormFarm.com.
Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Extra. I'm Joy Baird. We're in the large garden today, and as the warm temperatures rise, we're frantically getting as much stuff in the garden as we can as time permits. So we're going to get some beets in the ground here. We're going to get some golden beets and some Detroit red beets in the ground. Now, as you've seen on previous episodes, we created seed tape, which really speeds up the process of planting. And we've done this raised row method that we talked about on last week's program, and the fear was when it rained if it would flush into the walkway paths. And we've had a lot of rain this week, and successfully it has been very, as you can see, that hasn't washed any of the soil down, so it looks like it's going to be a very productive means of planting, at least for us. You can always experiment in your garden the different methods that may be working better for you than for us. So with the seed tape, the beets are already spaced properly. We're just going to drop it at the proper depth that the beets require. And we're just going to cover them up. And that is how quickly seed tape can speed planting time up in the garden. Now, I'm mixing golden beets and the Detroit red beets all together because, quite frankly, it doesn't matter to me if I have one row or the other. The separation or doesn't affect the harvest at all. So we're just going to maximize our growing space. Here I've got a very large seed tape of Detroit red beets. And just add that there. And then with the portion that I have left over down here, I'm simply going to take actual seed and do it, I guess you call, the old-fashioned way of simply dropping the seed in at the proper depth and space required for the best growing. And then as we need to, we can simply thin them out. So let me get my dollar seed package here of Detroit red beets, and I'm just going to space them. This is where I ended, and you can see when I laid the seed tape down, I left just a little bit of tail here so I could see where I need to start my actual seed planting by hand. And I'm going to be very particular about this because I don't want to waste any seeds that are unnecessary. And I'm going to go safely 5 inches apart here. That may be a little more than what's necessary, but with this raised row method, I really think that's going to help the productivity of these plants immensely compared to the traditional ground gardening that we have done in years past. So I've got that done. And I'm simply going to cover the row back up, get all the seeds in there. And as you can see here, this winter, this is where we had our compost pile. We simply hauled the self-watering containers and what was left in the compost bin, we simply just dumped in the middle of the garden and let it compost over the winter. And then as we need in the raised beds in the back or in containers, we can grab off of that until we run out. And it works very well. So I'm simply I'm just going to gently cover these up. And beets will mature in about 67 days. And you want to keep them moist. You don't want to keep them soaking wet. You want to keep them damp like a sponge, the soil. And you can eat the bulbs and the greens. The stems we found is just not that pleasant to consume, but the leaves are very edible, very healthy for you, as well as the bulbs. So this is just one of the many rows of beets that we'll be planting this year in the garden, large garden, small garden, and we may even experiment some of them in containers. In most cities or municipalities, you can't have a garden in the front yard. For whatever reason, whether people may think growing food is stupid or just unsightful. But in our front yard, we're going to do it anyway. And there's a certain way you can get around doing it where people won't know you're actually growing vegetables. As many of you seen on our Facebook page, Wisconsin Vegetable Gardeners, last week or a couple weeks ago, we had a photograph of this actual bed here. And this is where a tree was about 3 years ago and was cut down, and there's mulch here, and this is a prime location for growing vegetables. And this is basically, for those who are unfamiliar, a back to Eden type of area where you simply have wood chips on top, and as the wood chips biodegrade, it turns into great black soil underneath. Well, we've come up with a plan that we can actually grow some edible items up here in the front yard where they say we can't, where it won't look like it. We're going to make 2 complete circles with rainbow Swiss chard, which to most people are unfamiliar with, and it looks like a decorative flower or similar to like an elephant ear. In the center, we're going to have an arch of 4 gigantic sunflowers that will actually make people think it's actually a flower bed and not a vegetable bed. So let's get started with this right here. So I want to keep a foot off of where the grass is. I want to come in and I'm just kind of eyeball where my circle is going to be for my first round of Swiss chard, and then I'm going to use my pointed hole here and put a planting row in, and then I'm going to do my second one. I'm going to prep the area, plant both rows, and then we'll wait and start the sunflowers inside and bring them out when the temperatures get warm enough. So it'll be a great way to benefit with some Swiss chard, pickled Swiss chard stems. The leaves are very edible in salads, as well as Swiss chard chips, which we have done on the program as well. So let me see if I can make a couple of relatively decent circles and get some stuff planted here. So I've sadly made 2 circles that are not really circles, but they work for what we're going to do here. And I'm going to plant some rainbow Swiss chard here, as well as white fort hook Swiss chard, which is basically the white stem, and then the rainbow, you've got orange and yellow, white colors and red in there. So it really adds a decorative look to the bed when it, people doesn't deceive it as being like peppers or zucchini or tomatoes. So we're going to get started. It's the same procedure as you would plant any other type of Swiss chard in a traditional garden. I'm going to mix the 2 together, so I've got quite a variety of colors. And then in the center here, we've got somewhat of an arch to where we're going to put our sunflowers whenever we get them, and then get them germinated through the warm weather outside. So yeah, it's just a traditional back to Eden garden in the front yard where you're not supposed to have a garden. So I've got them both planted, and I incorporated the rainbow with the fork hook, just so there's a blend of rainbow and white stems in this wood chip bed. And I'm just simply going to gently cover the rows just like any other thing. And that's how you have a secret garden in your front yard, so where you can grow more vegetables, you can grow food instead of grass. If you like what you see, feel free to subscribe and comment. We put a video out each and every Tuesday. I'm Joy Barrett, and this has been a Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Extra. For more information, you can visit our website at thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.